What are the top 5 things that impact your credit score? Hi, I'm John St. Thomas, and I'm a mortgage loan officer with CMG Financial and a real estate investor based here in Phoenix, Arizona. So as you can see on this image on the screen, there are 5 things that go into developing your credit score, and not all 5 are weighted equally. Let's look at the largest portion of the pie chart that I just showed, which is your payment history, making up roughly 35% of your credit profile. Now, payment history is exactly as it sounds. Have you been able to pay your debts on time for the duration that you've had the respective debt? If you don't have any late payments over the entirety of your credit profile, you're likely going to have a very good score. And if you have had a credit late, it is going to hurt your score pretty substantially. Late payments can really affect your credit score, especially if the late payment is very recent, meaning it's happened in the last 5, 10, 15, 20 days, or in the last 1, 2, or 3 credit cycles. We look at late payments kind of like a cut, scrape, or bruise. The more recently it happened, the more it hurts or affects you. Same thing with credit lates. So make sure you pay your bills on time. The second largest piece of the pie at 30% is the amount of debt you have. And really what we're talking about is how much debt you're utilizing for things like credit cards. If a credit card is giving you a $10,000 limit, how much of that limit are you using? Are you only using $2,000 or are you using the full $10,000? In a perfect world, you want to keep your credit balance at roughly 30% of the limit they give you. So once again, if you have a $10,000 limit, you want to keep your balance at roughly $3,000 or less to see your score reach its highest potential. The third largest piece of the pie is your age of credit, meaning how long you've actually had credit. Now, a little key to this is whatever the longest or oldest credit card is that you have, keep it open forever. Do not ever close that piece of credit because that holds your longest history. If you were to get rid of that oldest credit card, you've essentially just gotten rid of the longest piece of credit history that you have, which could negatively affect your credit. So always keep the oldest card that you have open. Those who have had credit the longest typically have the highest scores. When I work with borrowers trying to obtain a mortgage, those that have the 830, the 840, the 845 credit score, 850 is a perfect score, by the way, but those borrowers are generally older individuals, people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s who have established a credit history of 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And number 4, tied for the smallest piece of the pie at 10%, is types of credit. And what they mean by types of credit are revolving credit, installment loan credit, mortgage credit, etc. So it's important to have a good mixture of all the different types of credit out there because it shows that you're responsible with all different credit types. And lastly, number 5, also holding 10% of your credit profile is credit inquiries. This essentially means how often somebody is checking your credit or possibly opening or closing any credit. As a rule of thumb, you don't want somebody checking your credit nonstop or opening new credit all the time or closing credit frequently. Now, I do like to point out that this is only 10% of your credit profile because when working with mortgage applicants, I'm constantly asked, will pulling my credit affect my score? As I typically tell clients, only if you've had a lot of different inquiries from a lot of different sources will you possibly see your score be affected. Interestingly enough, if you do have a credit inquiry specifically from a mortgage lender, you actually have a 45-day window where multiple mortgage lenders can pull your credit, and it all only counts as one inquiry. These are the 5 pieces that make up your credit profile. I'd love to know if you have any questions or if there was anything on here that you didn't know already. As always, if you ever need anything mortgage related, I'm always here to help.